1975, late 1975 into early 76, Bob Dylan, his live performances was at his highest. It was an exciting period of time for Bob Dylan because this was the beginning of Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder Revue. And the bootleg I'm talking about is Volume 5. That's right. The live concert on the first leg of the Rolling Thunder, 1975. Oh, yeah. This came out in November of 2002. And man, Bob Dylan was really putting out a lot of stuff, you know. But at this time, though, during the first leg of Dylan's Rolling Thunder, he was performing some of the songs that would be on, well, his feature album, which was Desire. And after that became the second leg. The first leg was in very late 1975. He was just off the heels of Blood on the Tracks, one of the most amazing albums. It was, I think it was a #1 album. It was like one of the biggest albums of that year. And then late in the year, he starts recording the tracks for Desire, and so a good chunk of the songs from Desire are all on were performed here in this first leg. And then we get to the second leg, which featured his second live album release, which was called Hard Rain. I know some of you guys have seen that, It was an official release from Dylan. So Dylan was super, absolutely very energetic. He was very passionate during this time, He had the white face paint. He had all of his crew. People like, of course, his good pal, Joan Baez, including Roger McGuinn, that was part of the Rolling Thunder, Joni Mitchell, Jack Elliott. But, a great time for Dylan, absolutely wonderful. T-Bone Burnett, that play electric guitar, David Mansfield on all these wonderful instruments, dobro and mandolin, that, it sound pretty much like what old Desire sounded like, Mick Ronson on electric, Rob Stoner on bass, Howie Heth, I believe that's how you pronounce that last name, on drums. Don DeVito was a recording supervision. We also had production here by Jeff Rawson and Steve Berkowitz. I believe that's how you pronounce that last name. Ronnie Blakely, Scarlett Rivera. She provides the violin, not only for this live first leg here of the Rolling Thunder, but she also played on Desire. So a lot of these are on this bootleg are different. Well, it's all within November, December of 1975. And not a lot of people here in the United States, well, if you weren't in New England, mostly in Canada, most people got to see the first leg of this Rolling Thunder that they called or whatever. And they named it the Rolling Thunder Revue because Bob Dylan, before Blood on the Tracks, he was a little bit overwhelmed about being kind of the superstar, kind of being the forefront, and I guess in small detail, Bob Dylan felt a little pressured, I think, at being this idol, and so he made up this Rolling Thunder Revue, which featured all the names that I featured that are already named already. and they all came here, or they all came with Dylan, came together. The first one came from Montreal, Canada, in December 4th of '75. The first one, yeah. So not all these are like the same venue. They're all in different. I guess all these live takes are all from different shows, I believe. So I believe the first, I think, performance of this was between November 19th and 21st of that year, 1975, and the second in December of that year. But I know a lot of people loved, I know some of you guys out there do, really loved that Martin Scorsese Rolling Thunder movie. And but there are some criticisms too as well, because there are actors that he brought in, and some of it seemed a little fictional, somewhat. Some of these actors that he hired, or that were part of this Rolling Thunder Revue documentary, or I don't know if you call it documentary, maybe mockumentary. They weren't really, they were blabbering about, I'm pretty sure they had a script, having to read it and whatever. But yeah, that was about almost 4 years ago since that film. But before that, they released the whole Rolling Thunder in a box set that has the Admit One ticket. And that whole box set includes all the live takes from that first leg. Not so much the second one, because the second one is documented from the Hard Rain. But not so much. That's the thing. There's not much on the second leg. But in late 1976, they broadcast in Fort Collins, Colorado. I believe that's second leg. Or I'm not sure. I don't know if it was the second or the first or the second, but that was broadcast. But the one that they didn't broadcast was back in April of '76 in Clearwater, Florida. Dylan's wearing the do-rag, that kind of famous shot, if you've ever seen that. So yeah, that wasn't officially done. But back in Dylan collaborated with his partner Sam Shepard, and they released. I think it came out in early. I think it came out in early '78. A film called Ronaldo and Clara, I believe. Yeah, and it came out January 25th, 1978. You can actually see. I was watching. I was kind of scrolling through it, you know what I mean, just to kind of get a glimpse of what it kind of looks like, or kind of see how it, apparently a lot. It was kind of a weird project for Dylan. It was produced by Mel Howard here, and yeah, not a lot of people really hated it, and apparently they took it off the film. People weren't they weren't too enthused about the film or whatever. It's basically kind of like a weird project. But the footage, though, that they took was the live footage from 1975, from November 21st, which some of it is actually here on this bootleg. But the rest of it is all on the full box set, the actual all the performances from that leg or whatever, which is included in the box set. Yeah, so Dylan, it was pretty bad, that Ronaldo and Clara film, unfortunately. Very grainy, very weird. It's kind of a little bit, I don't know how to describe it. It's just kind of very meandering, kind of somewhat, you know. So let's go and kind of go through some of the live stuff here. The first one is Tonight I'll Be. Now, this Rolling Thunder, this first leg, oh my God, Dylan is letting it loose. And you can tell here of the stages of Dylan's live performances here. And at this time, Dylan was super into his he was super into it. So the first one is Tonight I'll Be Staying Here With You, which is the ending track on Nashville. And you can just hear him just throw out my window, or throw my ticket out there too. Like, man, he was just, you know, just that energy. And then It Ain't Me, Babe, and I was just super surprised on most of these live performances. Oh yeah, we get Mr. Tambourine Man. He gets into his acoustic part. One surprise I did like, because then, you know, we have 8 tracks going in with just solo Dylan here. But after Simple Twist of Fate, Dylan goes into Blowin' in the Wind, and he brings in Joan Baez. And I actually really like their chemistry. I like how they both, to the point of it sounding a little bit grainy to the ear, you know, but I do really love their performance there, Blowin' in the Wind. And then you get Mama, You've Been on My Mind. That really did take me by surprise, that live performance there. Everyone was clapping and cheering, and it was just great. And then after that is I Shall Be Released. Oh my God, I was into tears listening to that. I was like, then after that, it's All Over Now, Baby Blue. I like how Dylan, he's a little bit, to me, however, with his live stuff, it seems, something doesn't seem quite right, but I kind of like what he does on, you know, that. And then Love Mine Is Zero. There's one part too where someone's like out in the crowd, Dylan, hey, perform a protest song. Your next song should be a protest song. And he goes out doing Oh Sister instead. I thought that was hilarious on that. You also get another fan out there that says, oh, play Just Like a Woman. He goes out there, he's like, all right, I guess I'll do the best I can. And he's out there doing Just Like a Woman. And then the last track, the last live one here, which was from the November 20th show of 1975 in Cambridge, Harvard Square Theater. He does Knocking on Heaven's Door, and he's letting it loose. So, you know, I don't want to make this video as long as it is now, but, you know, that right there absolutely blew me away listening to it. Because I think Dylan was as great as he's such a great live performer. And man, what a magical time. What a great time. You know, people weren't expecting old Dylan there being a little bit of a, you know, I don't know how you would say it, but maybe a different human. That's all I gotta say. What a great bootleg. What a great volume. The next one happens to be the 1964, the Halloween show. That's gonna be fun too. Okay, folks. Bye-bye.